Overflows.
Realization transcends all limitations. Realization is deep communion. When realization dawns, you transcend the limitations of body-mind realm. You enter the realm of consciousness. Intuition becomes your way of life. The moment you enter the temple of realization, you find it no more. It is a shadow which follows you up to the door, and not only follows you but clings to you as well, but only up to the door. It cannot enter the temple. If you have to save it, meaning self, you will have to remain outside. And this is one of the biggest misconceptions. We say that he is a self-realized soul. It is erroneous. Soul cannot be self-realized. It is a beginning. The self is the last thing one has to throw, and one can throw everything, but to throw the self is so impossible because the effort of self-realization, the endeavor for self-realization is an effort of the self for the self, to save the self. The moment you realize, you will not be, you will not try. Instead, realization is not of the self, but dissolution of the self is the last obstruction. Remember, self-realization is not an achievement, but is the beginning of something far bigger, where individual self merges into the vast, infinite ocean of existence, like dewdrop falling into the sea. Self-realization involves reaching to your center, up to the door. You become aware of one's unique nature, one's unique natural self. However, the ultimate goal remains enlightenment, which means the complete disappearance of the individual self into the totality of existence, leaving only the infinite. It is also important to note that there is danger of ego falsely creating a pious, egoistic from a self-realized state. And this will prevent complete melting into the infinite, the drop merging into the ocean of existence. Existence is divided into two. Existence, as we see, is a duality. Biologically, man is divided into two, man and woman. Ontologically, existence is divided into mind and matter. The Chinese call this yin and yang. The duality penetrates every realm of existence. We can say that sex penetrates every layer of existence. Sex penetrates every layer of existence. The duality is always present. This duality also penetrates into mind itself. There are two types of mind and mentality, masculine and feminine. Ask Buddha or Mahavir or Krishna. They are not really concerned with truth. They are concerned with freedom. How human consciousness can attain total freedom. That is more important. This difference belongs to the basic difference of the mind. If you are an observer, you will be interested more in the outside world and less with yourself. Because with yourself you cannot be an observer. You can observe the trees, you can observe the stones, you can observe other persons, but you cannot observe yourself because you are involved in it. Really, no gap is there between you and the self. Buddha cannot put this realization as an object on a table. It cannot be dissected. That is why there is only one science and so many religions. If something is true, then in science, two theories cannot exist side by side. Sooner or later, one theory will have to be dropped. Either it is true or it is not. Because the world is objective. You can decide which is true. Others can experiment on it and you can compare the notes of the two. But so many religions are possible because the inner world is subjective. I'm talking about inner world. No objective criteria of judgment or verification is possible. Buddha stands on his own evidence. He says, whatever I am telling you is on the basis of my own experience. He is only witness of whatsoever he is saying. That is why in science, doubt becomes useful. However, in religion, it becomes a hindrance, doubt. It is said, in religion you should not doubt. Religion is trust because no objective evidence is possible. Buddha's focus is on evidence. Buddha says something, if you trust him, it is okay. Otherwise, there is no communion with him. There is no dialogue possible. There is only one possibility, and that is this. If you trust Buddha, you can travel the same path. You can come to the same experience, same conclusion. But again, that will be individual and personal. And again, you will be your own evidence. So every enlightened person is his own evidence. You cannot even say that I have achieved the same thing that Buddha has achieved because no comparison is ever possible in science. The Sanatan mind says we are not interested in truth. The Sanatan mind says we are not interested in truth. Instead, we are interested in human freedom, freedom of consciousness. We are interested in the innermost freedom where no slavery exists, no limitation either, where consciousness becomes infinite, where consciousness becomes one with the whole. Unless you are the whole, you cannot be free. That which you are not will remain a limitation to you. That which you are not will remain a limitation to you. The most of the so-called religious person, they are not truly what they are. And this remains a limitation to them. So unless one becomes the Brahman, he is not free. But what is Brahman? Brahman is not God, but the ultimate reality. Are you the ultimate reality? The boundless and infinite essence of all that exists, including both manifested and unmanifested? It is the truth and the absolute truth, within which everything unfolds the manifested and unmanifested truth, within which everything unfolds. And two, I am Brahman means to realize that one is not separate from the universal consciousness, and that all actions, even those seemingly negative, arise from this single reality. That is why Krishna says, I am the subtotal of everything. I am Ram, I am Ravan. And he goes on saying that he is both heaven and hell, Ram and Ravan. This is where everything is included. Not that goodness is only included. You cannot say that I am good alone. You are a combination of good and bad, both. You are a balance between the two. And the moment you are balanced between the two, then it is a realization. This realization is an inner discovery that there is no duality, that is non-dualistic existence. But just intellectual knowledge will not help. So when I say I am Brahman, or Upanishadic statements say I am Brahman, it means to realize that one is not separate from the universal consciousness, and that all actions, even those seemingly negative, arise from the single reality. The positive, the negative merge and emerge from the same reality. And this realization is an inner discovery, not just intellectual knowledge. Instead, it involves letting go of both knowledge and ignorance. So, when you let go knowledge, ignorance vanishes. When you let go, we talk about letting go of ignorance but save knowledge. Both are two sides of the same coin. Ram and Ravan are two sides of the same coin. Heaven and hell are two sides of the same coin. Both has to disappear simultaneously. You cannot dissolve one. You cannot leave one and save the other. You cannot save knowledge as against ignorance. Both knowledge and ignorance have to be totally dissolved. So not just intellectual knowledge, instead it involves letting go of both knowledge and ignorance to embrace the total being. That is what realization is. Brahman is the substratum of existence, the absolute truth from which everything comes and to which everything returns at the end of life. And when one realizes I am Brahman, it signifies an understanding of non-duality. That is why the title of the book of Nivedita is Life of Bliss Beyond Duality. Bliss is beyond duality. It doesn't include the opposites into one another. It signifies an understanding of non-duality, that the individual self is not distinct from the universal self. Enough for now.